Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Faye, and if you are not new here, thank you so much for clicking on today's video. Welcome. So I'm sitting on the floor of my beauty room bringing you guys casual vibes. I'm filming on my vlog camera, and as you can see by the title, I'm finally bringing you guys the long-awaited makeup collection. It's not really a tour. I'm really just giving you or bringing you guys a portion of my makeup collection in today's video. If I gave you guys a full makeup collection tour in one video, it would probably be like 4 hours. So I'm going to break it up into different parts so that you're not having to sit forever, literally, watching my entire collection. So for today's video, I'm going to be starting out with foundation. You guys know, or you may or may not know, but if you've been following me, you know that I am all about complexion. It is the part that every single time I do my makeup, I always try to make sure that I have a flawless base. To me, that is like top of the list, top priority as far as I'm concerned. If I have a flawless base, everything else in the world is okay. Base and brows. So for today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys all of the foundations that I have in my drugstore drawer. I do have my foundations split between drugstore and high-end. It just makes it a little bit easier for me to find what I'm looking for easily, and it just makes it where everything's not as cluttered because I do have a lot of complexion products. So I'm very excited to finally be starting and bringing you guys my makeup collection series. I really hope that you guys enjoy it. I did already go ahead and film my high-end foundations today as well, so I will be bringing that video to you guys very soon. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give it a big thumbs up. Let me know down below what you want to see next in my collection. Do you want to see bronzers? Do you want to see eyeshadow palettes? Do you want to see blushes, highlighters? Let me know down below what you want to see next. But without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into my foundations. Alright guys, so currently I am sitting on the floor on the left side of my vanity. I'm going to be showing you guys my foundation collection. I keep all of my foundations in these two bottom drawers right here. I have them separated between, or I have them separated by drugstore and high-end foundations. So in the top drawer I have my drugstore foundations, and in the bottom drawer I have my high-end foundations. I used to have them all in one drawer, but it was just really cluttered and it was just a lot. So I have actually already decluttered my foundation collection. I should have filmed that for you guys, so sorry. There may be some as I'm going through that I decide to declutter in this video as well, but I did do a massive declutter before we moved into this house just because it was so much stuff that I was just like, I just cannot. It was so much stuff to pack, and I just didn't want to bring a bunch of unnecessary stuff into the new house. So I did do a lot of decluttering in my collection before we moved into this new house. So yeah, but like I said, as I'm showing you guys everything that I have, which is still a lot, I may end up decluttering some other items as we go along. So let's go ahead and start off with the drugstore side, or the drugstore drawer. This drawer actually has the majority of all of my foundations. You'll see when I get to the high-end drawer, which I'll just give you guys a quick little peek. There's hardly, like, there's still a lot of empty space back there. But the majority of the foundations that I have in my collection are drugstore. And also, before I forget, this little organizer that I have down here is from the brand Sunny Cosmetics. I'm trying to lift it up so you guys can see, but I actually ordered this one on accident. It was supposed to be the clear acrylic, but I accidentally ordered the white, which is not bad. It still, you know, looks cute, but this one and the one that I have in the bottom, which you guys saw, was actually clear acrylic. I got from Sunny Cosmetics. I will link that for you guys down below if you're interested in getting one. But let's go ahead and get into what I actually have in this drawer. So we can start on this side. The very first thing that I have are these foundations from CoverGirl. These are the CoverGirl Full Spectrum Matte Ambition All Day Shine Free Foundations. I have mine in the shades 310 Tan Golden and 305 Tan Neutral. I don't give these foundations nearly as much love as I probably should, but they are really great foundations foundations if you have oily skin. Next up, I have these foundations also from CoverGirl. These are from the Revitalist collection. These are the Healthy Elixir foundations, and I have mine in the shades 757 and 760, which are golden tan and classic tan. Neither of these shades really match me perfectly, so I have 2 shades, and honestly I don't really ever reach for these foundations, so I probably need to try them out and see, you know, if I still want to keep them in my collection. I feel like I kind of remember thinking they were okay, but I don't really reach for them that much, but I do have them in here. And then next up in the back, I have the Juvia's Place. Let me turn the brightness down a little bit. I'm filming on my vlog camera, so, you know, trying to make it work. But yeah, okay, so next up I have the Juvia's Place I Am Magic foundation. I have this one in the shade Punta Cana. I did do a full review on this foundation. This is really, really good. If you have oily skin, it lasts really long on my skin in particular. It's also super full coverage, so if you're somebody that loves that full coverage look, you will love this foundation. And then in that same little spot, I have this one from Morphe. This is the Morphe Fluidity Full Coverage Foundation. I think this launched last year, but I have mine in the shade 3.70. Another foundation that I really love. It's not super, super matte. It does work well on oily skin, but it's not one of those that's going to be super drying. This one isn't either. I think this one's good for all skin types, honestly. This one's just like spackle. It's like super, super, super full coverage. This one is pretty full coverage, but it's not as intense as this one. And neither of them are drying on the skin. So if you're somebody that wants something that will work well for oily skin, that will wear a long time but isn't going to be over drying, then both of these would be good options for you. And then next up in the back behind that, I have the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Matte foundations. These used to be my jam. If you followed me like back in the day, like 3-4 years ago when I first started my channel, I used to be obsessed with these. Also, please don't mind my nails. Like, y'all, we're in quarantine. The struggle is real. I had to like pop off all of my SNS nails, so just ignore the nails, okay? We all are experiencing the same struggle. But yeah, these used to be my jam. I do still really like them. Back in the day, my color used to be Classic Tan, which is this one right here. But as I have, you know, practiced more with makeup and just learned more about foundations, I've realized that this one is actually a little bit too dark for me. So I have these other shades just to mix in with that shade whenever I want to wear that foundation. And then back here in the back, I have these. You can see how long it's been since I've used these. I don't really ever reach for these, honestly, but I have the sister to the Pro Matte, which is the Pro Glow foundations, and I have these in the shades Classic Tan and Sun Beige. These are just okay. They're in the back because I just don't really reach for them. Honestly, like foundations that I reach for more so, I kind of have them like more visible, and then foundations that I don't really reach for that much I have in the back, except for my stick foundations. I have all of my stick foundations in the back, which I will get to in just a second. So next up, I have the Wet n Wild Photo Focus foundation. I have this one in the shade Cocoa. I remember really liking this foundation also. I haven't reached for it again in a really long time, but I do remember liking this one, and we all know that Wet n Wild is super, super affordable, so this is another one that I probably should test out again and just see if I still really like it, but I do remember liking it when I tried it out. I don't remember if I did a full review on this one or not, but I'll try to find like a couple of videos where I've done foundation reviews on some of these ones that I'm mentioning to you guys, and I will share those. And then behind that, I have some more CoverGirl foundations. These are the CoverGirl True Blend Matte Made foundations in the shades T60 and T80. I think my shade is actually T60. But I have this one for like, you know, in the summer when my skin is a little bit more warm toned. And then behind that, I have these. The NYX Can't Stop Won't Stop foundations, which I know for sure I did a full review on. I actually had these in my everyday makeup stash for last month before we went under full-blown quarantine. I have cinnamon and honey as the 2 shades. And I remember really liking this foundation, but when I was wearing it last month, it kind of was like hit or miss for me. So I don't know. These may be foundations that I start to mix in with other foundations, or they may end up being foundations that I eventually declutter, because I wasn't super in love with it when I was wearing it last month when it was in my everyday makeup stash. But I just added these back into the drawer. And then behind that, I have this one from Milani. This is the 2-in-1 Conceal and Perfect foundation and concealer. I have mine in the shade 09 Tan. This is another one that I haven't reached for in a really long time, but I have seen a couple of people on my subscription feed that have been using this and really loving it. So I need to give this one another go also. So back up to the front, I have 2 e.l.f. foundations. Neither of these are the right color for me. I have tried out both of them. Well, this one looks like it's probably pretty much brand new. Both of these, well no, this one looks like I've kind of used it. But they're both pretty much completely full because I'm almost positive that neither of them are the correct shade for me. So I have the shades Caramel and, oh, both of these are Caramel? They definitely don't look the same unless I put the wrong top on one of them. No, it says Caramel. I mean, y'all can look at these and see that one is clearly lighter than the other one. I mean, am I tripping? But they both say like Caramel and Caramel, so I don't know about that. But either way, neither one of these are the correct shade for me. So I literally never reach for these. I only have them in the front because they're short, and I think it's more aesthetically pleasing to have shorter products to taller products in the drawer. But yeah, if these are your shade and you're interested, especially this one, because this hasn't even, no, not this one, this one, because it has not even been used, let me know and I can definitely send these your way. But yeah, neither of these work for me, and they both say Caramel, and they're both clearly completely different colors. So after that, I have this one from ColourPop. This is the No Filter foundation, and I have this one in the shade Dark 155. I have another one of these foundations. I'm not sure if it's back in the back. I'll check in a second. But I have another one of these foundations that is brand new. When I originally purchased this foundation, I picked up 2 shades. And when I filmed my review on it, I realized that this one was the best fit and the other one did not really match me at all. It was darker. So that's something else that I could probably honestly give away to somebody. I don't remember the shade, but I will try to remember to check and either put it on the screen or put it down below for you guys. I remember this one being a pretty good foundation, and of course ColourPop is super affordable. Next, I have the LA Colors Truly Matte Long Wearing High Pigment Foundation. This one is in the shade Warm Caramel. And to be perfectly honest, I never reached for this one either. I remember it kind of having like a really strong, almost like Crayola crayon kind of smell to it. Yeah, it has like that kind of strong, I don't know, clay smell to it. I feel like I need to do like a drugstore test on a lot of these foundations and just see if I still like them, and if not, declutter them. But yeah, this is another one that I haven't really used that much. Now this one right here is one of my all-time faves from the drugstore. This is the Revlon Color Stay. I have mine in the shade 375 Toffee Caramel. This foundation is really, really good. It wears really long on the skin, and if you have oily skin, it does wear really nicely for oily skin. It doesn't get, you know, super oily and just like disgusting throughout the day. So yeah, this is another really good foundation from the drugstore. I have gone through a couple bottles of this, and if you're not oily, if you're more dry or more normal, they do have a formula for normal to dry skin as well. So this one is definitely a really good one from the drugstore. And then behind that, I have the Milani Screen Queen Foundation. I haven't tried this one out too much. It is newer to the drugstore, but I do plan on filming a full review and wear test on this foundation. I think I've worn it like once or twice. So far, so good on the times that I've worn it, but I definitely want to film a full review and give you guys, you know, my full thoughts on this foundation. Okay, so back up to the front, I have these from LA Girl. These are actually foundation mixing pigments. So I have a white one and I have a blue one. The white one is if you have a foundation that is too dark, you would use it to kind of lighten it up a little bit without changing the color or the texture of the foundation itself. And then if you have a foundation that is a little bit too warm, you would use the blue to make it a little bit more cool. And then they do have an orange one, I believe, that is for if the foundation is too cool or neutral, you could use it to warm it up. But the issue that I typically have with foundations is they're either too dark or too warm. So I ended up getting these two. I have used the blue one in one of my foundations, and it actually worked really well, and it helped, you know, just change the color to give me the perfect match. So these right here are bomb, super affordable. I think they're like $6 or $8. If you're somebody who has a hard time finding your perfect match for foundations, it's good to have these to mix in. And then behind that, I actually have the foundation. So this is the Pro Matte HD foundation. If you have been watching my channel, you already know that I stand for this foundation. I have mine in the shade Cafe. This is so bomb. Honestly, if it did not say LA Girl on it, I would think it was a high-end foundation. It applies to the skin beautifully. It wears throughout the day beautifully, and it just gives you such flawless coverage. And it is more of a medium to buildable full coverage foundation. So this one right here is bomb. I talk about this all the time, anytime that I talk about must-have products from the drugstore. It's super affordable. Like I said, I think these are like $6 or $8. So good. So behind that, I have this one from Beauty Bakery. I'm not sure. I don't think this actually qualifies as drugstore, so I'm probably going to move this down to the bottom drawer. But this is the Cake Mix foundation in the shade, what shade is this? Number 25. I purchased this a while back, and I haven't really given it a ton of wear. So this is another one that I kind of need to like try out. It's kind of hard when, you know, you get PR and then you're also constantly purchasing things to try out, you know, being that I do film, or I try to film, you know, a lot of different videos and just test out a lot of different products. It can be hard to keep up with everything, and I feel like this one kind of slipped through the cracks on me. So this is going to be one I'm probably going to try out and get a little bit of more use out of and see if I actually like it. I heard a lot of really great things about this, especially for oily skin. So definitely need to give this one a little bit more attention, but I am going to put it down in my bottom drawer. And then behind that, I have this one, another one of my absolute favorites. This one is the Makeup Revolution Conceal and Define Full Coverage Foundation. This foundation, you guys, is so good. So good. I have mine in the shade F12.5, as you can see. And it basically applies like, it has a huge kind of like concealer brush situation, which I really like because I feel like it allows you to place the foundation exactly where you want it. And this is another buildable, medium to buildable, you know, to full coverage foundation. But this one and this LA Girl one, they kind of apply kind of similar in that they are medium to buildable coverage, and they just apply flawlessly to the skin and wear really nicely throughout the day. So usually when I'm reaching in my drawer, these are definitely in my top 5 of foundations that I'm reaching for, along with the Juvia's Place, of course, which I talked about earlier. So yeah, another really good foundation. If you haven't tried it out, I highly recommend. And they do have a pretty decent shade range. So next up, I have another product from NYX. These are the NYX Total Control Drop Foundations. I have 2 shades. I have the shade Caramel and the shade Mahogany. I remember really liking these, but again, I have not really used them in a long time. I feel like these would be great to mix in with other foundations also, because they literally are like a drop, like a foundation dropper. So these would be great to mix in with other foundations if you're trying to customize your color. And then of course, you guys know NYX is pretty affordable. So I have these in here in case I ever need to use them. And then a more recent favorite from last year when these launched is the L'Oreal Infallible 24-Hour Fresh Wear Foundation. Honestly, the whole L'Oreal Infallible line is just bomb. Like, I have nothing negative to say about the Infallible line. There has not been anything that I have tried from that line yet that I do not like. It's just so good, and these are no exception. I have two shades, the shade 500 and the shade 510, and I was wearing these 2 months ago. I had these in my everyday makeup stash and I just fell in love with them. I remember, I think I did a full review on these as well on my channel, but after I did the review, I didn't really use them a whole lot. And then 2 months ago, like I said, I put them in my everyday makeup stash, and girl, I fell in love with them, like I said. So I normally mix the two of these together, mostly like 2 pumps of this to 1 pump of this is normally a pretty good mixture for my skin tone, and these are just really good. Like, they give me really good coverage, but they feel super light on the skin. Like, it literally feels like your skin, but it still can give you that full coverage if you like it, or medium coverage if you prefer a lighter coverage. So these are really good. And then right behind that, I have a bunch of Maybelline Superstay foundations, because it took me forever to find my shade. So honestly, the two that I usually use are these, which is why they were in the front. These two shades are 330 Toffee and 332 Golden Caramel. Golden Caramel, as you can see, is very cool toned, and this one is more of like a neutral. Well, both of these are kind of neutral, honestly, but this one is a little bit lighter. So sometimes I'll mix in just a little bit of this. This one can make you go pretty gray pretty quickly. This one is the Golden Caramel one. This one I can usually wear by itself, but sometimes, you know, if I want to mix, I have both of these to work with. And then behind that, I have these two shades, which are not really my shades at all. I have Honey and I have Warm Sun. I have used them both, but again, you know, they just sit in the back of my foundation drawer because they're not my shades. So I hate to see them go to waste, and I'm not sure that I know anyone that could use these shades. So if you're not weird about that, I can definitely sanitize them and send them your way if either of the two of these are your shades. But I do keep them in the back of my collection. And then for my foundation sticks, the first two that I have are these from ColourPop, and I have the shades, let's see, Medium Dark 145W and Dark 161 Neutral. I think this one is the one that's actually my shade, which is 145W. This one, yeah, it's definitely more red tone and a little bit darker. But I do have both of them just in case I want to mix them together, which I tend to have to do with almost all of my foundations. And then next to that, another favorite from the drugstore is from Makeup Revolution. And these are their foundation sticks in F12 and F13. And I definitely usually do mix these together. F12 is more of a neutral, and then F13 is a little bit darker, but also a little bit warmer. So I'll usually mix the two of those together. So after that, I have this one from L'Oreal. I don't really reach for it a ton. I don't really reach for my foundation sticks that much in general, unless I'm just kind of in a rush. But I do have this one back there as well. This is the L'Oreal Infallible Foundation Stick, which I have in the shade Honey. I think this one is actually a little bit, probably a lot of it too dark for me, but I could probably mix it in with one of the other shades. And then behind that, I have these. These are the Maybelline Superstay foundation sticks, which I have in the shades 330 Toffee and 312 Golden. Toffee is more of like my skincare shade, and then Golden is a little bit lighter. So normally I'll kind of mix these together. I'll put Golden more so in the center of my face, and then Toffee on you know, the perimeter and the rest of my face. These are actually really nice foundation sticks. They're pretty full coverage and they blend out really nicely, which I love. And then behind that, I have these foundation sticks from Mented. They sent these to me in PR. So these two actually were the wrong shades. No, these two were the wrong shades. So I have L20 and L30. I did use these one time and realized pretty quickly that they were not the right shades. They're way too light for me. So again, if these are your shades, feel free to let me know and I will send them your way. Otherwise, I will probably eventually declutter these shades from my collection. But Mented ended up having a pop-up shop here in Atlanta a few months ago now, and when I was there I was able to actually shade match myself, and so my manager reached out to them to see if they would be willing to send my correct shades, which they were, and they are T10 and T20. And honestly, I could really work with either of the two of these shades. This one is T10. Well, I guess I'll show you guys a comparison. And this one is T20, but I normally just like to have you know, options, but these are what the two look like, T10 and this one is T20. I usually, like I said before, I like to be able to mix my foundation, so I'll normally get one that's a little bit more on the neutral side and one that is a little bit more on the warm side, just because I tend to be in between. So these two definitely matched me a lot better. And then back in the back are some foundations that I legit never reach for, and I think I'm probably going to declutter in this video because they're kind of old and they're all the way in the back for a reason. So the first one I have is this one. This is the Revlon Youth FX Fill and Blur Foundation in the shade Caramel. I got this when it originally launched to film and do a review on for you guys, and I wasn't really a fan of it and haven't really worn it much since, so it kind of just lives in the back of my foundation drawer. And then I also have this one. This is the L'Oreal Infallible Total Cover Foundation. This actually might be the only foundation from the Infallible line that I'm not really a huge fan of. It's kind of a little bit more of a thicker consistency, and I just don't really remember being that much of a fan of it, so I don't know. And then also, this is another one that I purchased and filmed a review on, and I wasn't really a huge fan of it. This is the Revlon Color Stay Full Cover Foundation. I have mine in the shade 410. And I think the other thing with this that probably is part of why I didn't really use it that much is I don't think the shade, well, I don't know, the shade looks like it might have been okay. I don't remember why I didn't like this foundation. This may be another one that I need to try out and just figure out why I wasn't a fan of it. So I may actually stick this up here with some of my other foundations just to give it another try before I decide if I'm going to declutter it. And then lastly, I have this one, the Pacifica A Light Clean Foundation. This one is 100% vegan and cruelty free. And this one actually is not back there because I didn't like it. It's back there because I can't close my drawer when I have it sitting in the tray. So I just have it in the back laying down flat. Which I may actually push the tray back and lay this one in the front just so that I can see it a little bit better. Otherwise, you guys know how it is. When stuff is in the back of your drawer, you just forget that it's back there and you end up never using it. But I did use this foundation a couple of times. I do really like it. I think it wears really nice if you have oily skin. And it does say here that it's an oil-free, anti-shine, and satin finished foundation. So if this is one that you guys would like to see like a review on, I can definitely film it for you. It's been out for a while. It's a newer foundation, but it's definitely been out for a couple of months now. I haven't really heard a whole lot of people talking about it, but I ended up purchasing it because Casey Holmes reviewed it and she really liked it, and we have similar skin types, so usually if she likes something, I will probably more than likely like it as well. So that's why I ended up picking this up, and you can get it from Target. Alright guys, so that is going to bring us to the end of this video. This actually ended up being a little bit longer than I anticipated. I don't know why I don't know what I was thinking. Like, clearly I have a lot of foundations. So I think I'm actually going to do a part 2 to this video and show you guys my high-end foundations, because I don't want this video to be like super long. Not like we have a whole lot to do anyways. I mean, honestly, if you're anything like me, you're just sitting in the house all day, running out of things to watch on YouTube and running out of Instagram stories to look at. So it's not like we have a whole lot to do, but I don't want the video to be super ridiculously long, so I will just do the high-end foundations in a separate part 2 of my foundation collection. So I really hope that you guys enjoyed watching this video. I know you guys have been asking for a foundation, for like a makeup collection video for a really long time, so I'm trying to go ahead and start pumping out those videos for you guys, since again I don't have anything else to do. So that is my drugstore foundation collection. Again, I hope that you guys really enjoyed it, and give this video a thumbs up if you did. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Comment down below what your favorite drugstore foundation is, and what part of my collection you would like me to review for you guys next after I finish foundation. So thanks so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.